Sorry.
What's going on, gamers? It's Diggs Gaming. Welcome back to Off Hunting's Gaming News. Tonight, I am joined by
KB.
What's going on, KB? How you doing tonight?
Just hanging out.
Yeah. Tonight, this week, we got a lot of games that have release dates now, but we'll get to that later. We always save those towards the end. But to start off with, we have an update from Activision. And this is what's interesting. According to a new document, Activision has not discussed CEOs Bobby Kotick, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, future after the Microsoft buyout. This shocks me because I would have thought they would have had this discussion right when it was announced.
Right.
To me, if you keep Bobby around because he was the CEO, he's the one that oversaw all of these problems that Activision has, and he's even been accused of some of them.
Yeah.
It would not be a good look to keep him around after the Microsoft buyout. You would think this would be cut and dry. Goodbye. See ya. You're out of here. But
exactly.
I don't understand why they haven't discussed it yet. Maybe because they're not entirely sure whether this is going to go through or not. We're still not entirely sure on that. I would think this is going to go through, but that's just so interesting when you think about this and kind of scary.
Yeah, like he's the top of the company. Like he should have known about all of this from the beginning. He's also been accused of stuff. So like he's not the type of person you want around. And I'm honestly wondering if they're looking to see what gamers think, or if this is going to get like picked up and people are going to notice that he's still around. And then they're going to be like, oh, wait, we're getting rid of him now, which is going to be an even worse look.
Yeah, I just don't understand this. And like I said, they haven't even negotiated it at all. And we've heard the Microsoft buyout news that came out, what, 2 months ago?
I think so, just about.
Yeah. So you would think you would have some kind of talks with him about this, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe
even before the buyout, I would say.
What was that?
Even before the buyout, like you've got to think that if you're preparing to buy a company, you're going to be like, okay, who are we going to want from that team to put on our team now? Right?
What you would think
are the bad like apples in the bunch that we need to get rid of so that we can have a great product going forward?
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully everything with this gets settled, and hopefully he's not at that company for far too long.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Another thing from Activision, an Activision investor who was suing, well, the company because of all the stuff that was going on, his lawsuit has been thrown out by a judge on the grounds of fraud by hindsight. And I don't know how others are going to feel about this, but I'm actually glad this lawsuit got thrown out because there are more important things than just an investor that saw the stock market crash after this. And I think this should have been thrown out from the very start. And I'm glad this did get thrown out. I'll be honest.
Well, I haven't really been following that case, but honestly, I'm going to trust you on this. There were probably bigger fish to fry, especially with like what's going on with Activision.
Moving on, we got word of a new Star Wars title being in the works by Amy Hennig in cooperation with Sundance New Media. Now, Amy, she was a big part of the first 3 Uncharted games, and now she's taken over this Star Wars title. And when people heard about this, the canceled Star Wars game that got on everybody's head was Star Wars 1313. That game that kind of had a little bit of an Uncharted feel to it, that was kind of, I think it was about a young Boba Fett, where you play as a young Boba Fett. And I'll tell you what, this sounds really good, but I was actually curious, so I took a look at all the games, all the Star Wars games that are now in development, and we've got about 8 games in development. So we have this one. Respawn's working on 3. One is a Jedi Fallen Order sequel. One is a first-person shooter. Another is a strategy game. We have Star Wars Hunters by Take-Two. Quantum Dream is making Star Wars Eclipse. Ubisoft is making an open-world Star Wars game. And, of course, we have the Knights of the Old Republic remake. So yeah, 8 Star Wars games now in development, and that may seem like a lot, but with the way Star Wars is, I feel like they can get away with it because you could do so many different genres with it. Like I said, we have a strategy game in there. We have an open world game in there. Of course, the Fallen Order 2 sequel. And did I mention the first person shooter?
I think so.
Yeah. So I feel like they get away with it, but right now I don't think we should get any more Star Wars games in development.
Yeah, I think you hit max.
Yeah.
8 is good.
But like I said, Amy had been a big part of the first 3 Uncharted games and actually helped out on Uncharted 4 before leaving the company. And now she started her own company and is working with Sundance New Media on this. And this is really getting a lot of gamers excited. I know I saw a few people talk about this and they were excited to hear about this. So that's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, a federal judge has dismissed 10 of the 13 discrimination claims against Sony. Now, yes, we have another case of claims getting thrown out. Now, the reason that these 10 were thrown out because there was not enough evidence or details to continue forward. Now, this is a good thing for Sony right now, but you got to keep in mind these can pop back up at any time, and they still have 3 discrimination claims against them. So it's not fully over with this just yet.
Yeah. Also, it wasn't thrown out because it's not true. It's just that they can't prove it in like a court of law. So it's still like Sony should stay on their toes, is what I'm saying, because anybody could come forward and say, actually, hey, I have this evidence, and get those lawsuits going back again.
Or start new ones, or get new ones.
Or start new ones, or...
Yeah, so they're not out of the woods yet, but this is something that they can kind of breathe a sigh of relief for a little bit. But, I mean, I'm just going to say this. I just don't like it when these claims come up because it is just something where, you know, it just should not happen at any company, whether it is Activision, whether it's Sony, Microsoft, anywhere. It just should not happen. And really, I'm just disappointed in Sony from all this because you hear a lot of things about Sony being a good place for game development. And we hear all these stories. I mean, you heard Insomniac Games saying they did not push crunch with the last few games that they put out. But yeah, this is just not a good look for them. And it's really something where they definitely lost some credibility for me. Not too much, because I always know that they've been able to gain back trust, but yeah, they're going to have to earn back some of my trust after this. So they better make sure that they do right with all of this. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, like we've always known, and especially like tech spaces, that discrimination has been like a huge issue. So it doesn't come as a surprise, but this is definitely it's 2022. You should know better by now. People have eyes on you, and they're going to start spending money elsewhere if you don't get your act together. There is no brand loyalty pretty much anymore. So
that cannot be more true. Moving on, Sony has announced the dates of when the new look PlayStation Plus is going to be released. Now, remember, they are dropping PlayStation Now, absorbing that into PlayStation Plus, and adding 3 tiers. PlayStation Plus Essential, which is basically just regular PlayStation Plus. If you have regular PlayStation Plus, then you're good. You're fine. You don't have to do anything. PlayStation Plus Extra, which has all the things from PlayStation Plus Essential, plus you have a catalog of, I think it's about 400 PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games, and then PlayStation Plus Premium, which along with all that, you get trials, you get exclusive discounts, you get the ability to play PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PSP, and be able to stream PlayStation 3 games. Well, now we have the dates of when this is coming. It starts off in the Asian markets May 23rd, so in less than a month. It's coming to the Asian markets. Then it comes to Japan June 1st, and then the Americas 12 days later, June 13th, and then 9 days later, it comes to Europe June 22nd. So now we have the dates for when this is dropping in your region. And yeah, this is very good. And of course, they released this in a blog post. They didn't do a video on it, just a regular old blog post like they like to do with stuff like this. But what drew my attention was the fact that you got Asian markets and then Japan,
Right.
which is very interesting because, of course, Sony is a Japanese company, and yet it's coming to Japan after the other Asian markets. You'd think it'd be the other way around, but it's not. And you have to wonder. I'm
I
curious as
know
to why.
for in particular, I'm pretty sure the reason that like a lot of movies and like video games and things get sent out first to like China and like South Korea in particular is because if it comes out anywhere else, it gets pirated like almost immediately. But I don't see how they could do that with like this. But I'm wondering if that's what Sony is worried about.
I mean, a lot of things have been hacked in the past. You think something that can't be hacked, it gets hacked. So,
yeah,
I mean, that is a really good point to this. But you mentioned this before we went live for this. The fact that the dates are kind of far apart because you have May 23rd in the Asian markets, and then a week later it's in Japan, and then 12 days later the Americas, and then 9 days later for Europe. So yeah, that is a little bit of a long time between when this is going to come out. That's over a week
almost
for
a full
each
month
one. Yeah,
between the first person or first country and the last country.
Yeah. Well, first region, last region.
Yeah. Same difference.
Yeah. That is interesting. But you know what? We don't control that stuff. I think for the moment, I'm going to just stay with PlayStation Plus Essential, but I'm definitely going to upgrade to Premium once I find out what games are going to be coming, because I just love playing those classic games. There are classic games that I've never played that I've wanted a chance to, and this might be a great chance to play them.
Oh, definitely.
But speaking of that collection, it may have been leaked the first few games that are coming to there, because 4 classic Siphon Filter games have been rated for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 in Korea. So you have Siphon Filter 1 and 2, Dark Mirror, and Logan Shadow that were rated, again, for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Now, Siphon Filter, that has been an IP for Sony from the very beginning, since the PlayStation 1. And yeah, it's definitely got its fans. And if those games are coming to that classic lineup, that's pretty big. That is pretty big. I mean, to be honest, I've never played the Siphon Filter games, so I'm not
sure. Neither have I.
Yeah. So I can't speak on stuff like that. I wish I could, but I can't. But again, I mean, this is a Sony IP that has been with them since PlayStation 1. They made a lot of Siphon Filter games. I mean, it's not just those 4. You have, I think, 2 or 3 other games. People don't realize, but Siphon Filter had a lot of games that were made. And fact is, if games like this are coming to that collection, that PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PSP collection for PlayStation Plus Premium, it sounds like it's definitely going to be a good lineup of those games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to something that I know has drawn some controversy. Xbox, about a week or 2 ago, it had been reported that they were working on putting ads in free-to-play games. Well, this week, we now get word that Sony and PlayStation are essentially doing the same thing. And my thought process to this was, what on earth are you thinking doing something like this?
Right.
Now, I'm not sure what they're planning on doing with this, if they're actually going to be like putting commercials in between our gameplay, or if it's just going to be like a billboard here or a sign there. But I don't know if this is really a good way to do this. I mean, yeah, it's only for free-to-play games as it's been reported, but still, do we really want to see ads in our video games, even if they're just the free-to-play ones? No, we don't.
So I can see if they do it like, how like the Coke can or like the Pepsi can, where you can see like the entire like logo, and they're like, oh, your favorite character is drinking Pepsi. Your favorite character is drinking Sprite. You should drink those too. Like if it's subtle like that, or like how I think it was the Twilight films were sponsored by Nissan, So that's why Edward drives that car. Like if it's subtle like that, it's okay. But if it's like you're playing a game, here's a pop-up ad, that's not cool.
Yeah, this
You
has
don't want to break the immersion.
really got gamers scared. Let's be honest. This has really got gamers scared, and I'm one of them. I don't
Yeah,
know if this is a good idea. I'm
I
just
don't
gonna
think
say it.
so.
Yeah, I really don't. And I'll tell you what, if enough gamers push back on this, they're just not gonna do it.
Mhm.
Because
Definitely.
we all remember the fiasco that was the Xbox One, the always online, and the need to control used games, and then they just pushed back right away after Sony basically kicked their butt with it. I mean, remember that E3
Yeah.
tutorial of how to share games that Sony did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
That was an embarrassment for Xbox for
Oh yeah,
sure.
that really. I mean, that pretty much cost them the console war. Let's be honest. I mean, all
Mm,
of that they were playing behind the eight ball from the very beginning. After that, which is a shame because the Xbox One was actually a very good console. Well,
true.
the later versions of it were the original Xbox One. We all know the problems that it had right away.
Yeah.
But once they got the X and the other ones, that's when it really started to take off. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. Yeah. So I encourage gamers, if you do not want ads in your games, even if they're just free to play ones, please just complain about this because they will listen. They will listen. You don't think they will, but they will listen to you.
Yeah. If they think they're going to lose money by, even if this is a free to play game, if they think they're going to lose money by you leaving the console, they're going to reverse it.
Oh, yeah. Moving on to all those announcements we were talking about earlier. So first things first, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to produce an It Takes Two movie. More on that later. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is releasing July 29th. Then you have the Sonic Origins collection, which has Sonic 1, 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Sonic CD. That is going to be releasing June 23rd. KO the Kangaroo is releasing May 27th. And then you have Splatoon 3 finally getting a release date, and it is releasing September 9th. All right, let's talk about this It Takes Two movie because I heard about this, and the more I think about it, the more I think it could actually work as a movie. For those of you that don't remember, It Takes Two, that won Game of the Year, and it's basically about a young girl who somehow turns her parents into dolls, trying to help them not get a divorce. And they have to work together to solve puzzles to basically return to human form. And yeah, I could definitely see that as a movie. I could see it if it's done
Yeah.
right.
If it's done, yeah. There have been a lot of issues with game to movie adaptations. So it would be nice to see a good one.
Yeah, I think, let's see. I mean, lately we've been getting some decent ones. I mean, the two Sonic the
Yeah.
Hedgehog movies have been decent. Those
True.
two Angry Birds movies actually weren't a disaster, which is an accomplishment all on its own, right?
True. I feel like if they make a good Angry Birds, they could probably make a good It Takes Two.
Yeah. And now we don't know if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to do any voice in this movie. We just know that he's going to be producing it, or if he's going to act in this movie at all. Actually, I would feel this would be, I'm not sure if this is an animated film or if this is going to be a live action film. I would think it'd be animated because I think it would work better as an animated film. But what do I know? I'm not a filmmaker. I'm just a guy that
Sure.
talks about video games.
Right.
But yeah, so it's interesting. I think it could work, but it's got to be done right. And there must be paying The Rock a lot of money to do this. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
All right, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 releasing July 29th. That's coming up pretty soon. This game got announced earlier this year, I believe, and now we have a release date for it. So they're coming up on the final stretches for it. And Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2, they were very, very good games. So not shocked they made a third one. I absolutely love Xenoblade Chronicles. I haven't had a chance to pick up the second game yet, but I absolutely love the first game. And yeah, I'm definitely going to pick up Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This is definitely one where Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of people very happy about this. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles that originally came out on the Wii originally did not come to the West, but then they did this campaign and they got it to the US, and then Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out on the Switch, just as good as the first one. And then you have, I believe, the one of the characters from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a DLC character in Smash Ultimate. So you know that game did well if they did that.
Yeah.
Not entirely surprised by this, but I am a little shocked that it's coming sooner than I would have thought. All right, Sonic Origins Collection. Again, this has Sonic 1, 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Sonic CD. That is releasing June 23rd. And if you're a fan of classic Sonic, you're going to pick this up.
Definitely.
I mean, classic Sonic, people have said that's the best. Those are the best Sonic games. I mean, when Sonic first came out, we all know how big he was at the very beginning. He was basically there as to be a cooler Mario, to the point where, I don't know how many people notice this, but his fur is blue. His shoes already basically was a reverse color of Mario. Wonder how many people did not realize that or didn't notice that. Yeah, so the Sonic Origins Collection coming out soon. Now, KO the Kangaroo. For those of you that don't know, KO the Kangaroo has actually been around since the 5th generation of consoles. So that PlayStation, Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, it's been around since that. I mean, it's a kangaroo with boxing gloves. It's a 3D platformer. I love 3D platformers. And if you have not checked out the trailer or any gameplay, go check it out, because this game really does look like a lot of fun. Again, you play as a kangaroo that has boxing gloves. Doesn't that just sound fun?
Yeah, it sounds cute.
Yeah, and the game looks absolutely amazing. I mean, it looks gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It has that Crash 4 look to it, and mainly because it's done on the Unreal Engine, so of course. But again, I mean, a 3D platform, we've seen 3D platformers lately. I mean, people are getting nostalgic for those. And this game looks like it's being made absolutely amazingly. And yeah, if you're a fan of 3D platformers, you're a fan of animal mascots, go ahead and pick this game up. It is coming out March 27th. And then this is probably the biggest one of the bunch. Splatoon 3 coming out September 9th. Now, everybody's been waiting for this game to come out. Splatoon just absolutely jumped onto the scene with the first game. People could not get enough of those inklings. They really couldn't. Third game coming out September 9th. And you know this game is just gonna fly off the shelves. You just know it. Isn't that right?
Definitely, yeah.
Now, I will be frank, it's another game it's a game I have not played. I don't know if you've ever played a KB.
No, it's not something that's high up on my wish list.
Yeah, sorry guys. I wish we could go into more detail about this, but we just haven't played this game before. But we know the gist of it, and we know how popular this game is. So we just know this game's going to do well no matter what. And hopefully it turns out to be as good as the first 2 games in this series. All right, guys, that was the gaming news for this week. As always, I'm Diggs Gaming.
KB.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.